9. Skill verification. Right. Let's put the skill points aside for now. Honestly, I can't use them if they don't increase, so there's no point in worrying about it. Now, compared to appraisal, the way I got acid resistance was completely different. Acid resistance. If it does what the name implies, it should increase my defense against acid attacks. I acquired it when I was hit by that disgusting frog saliva attack. I think that saliva had both acid and poison attributes. I believe I was able to acquire a new skill because I took acid damage from that attack. It's hard to say if it was because I took damage or simply because I was hit by that attribute. As for proficiency, I'm not sure if it went up based on the amount of damage I took or if it increased over time from being continuously exposed to the attribute attack. I don't really know how that part works. But the important thing here is that by taking an attack of a certain attribute, you can gain resistance to it. I have to go through some pain first, but if I can endure it, I can gain a resistance skill. For example, if I took a fire attack, maybe I'd get fire resistance? Thinking defensively, it's definitely better to have resistances. From now on, should I intentionally take first-time attacks as long as they don't seem fatal? No, I hate pain, and there's no guarantee I'd even get a resistance skill. There's no need to take unnecessary risks. Yeah, and it's definitely not just because I hate pain. From the frog's attack, I gained acid resistance, and my poison resistance level went up. Right. If what that voice of God, Temp, said is true, then poison resistance is a skill I had from the very beginning. Well, I am a spider. I use poison, so it's not surprising I'd have a resistance to it. It's not surprising, but what's the deal with not knowing my own skills? If the voice of God, Temp, hadn't told me, I never would have realized I had poison resistance. Which means maybe I have other skills I just don't know about? It wouldn't be surprising if I did. Something like a poison attack skill seems plausible. It would be nice if I could check, but there's no way to do it. I tried shouting status in my mind, but got no reaction. Maybe I'll be able to see them if my appraisal skill levels up. Appraisals? Level? Proficiency? Wait, could it be that I can level this one up too? Proficiency is basically just a measure of how much you've used something and gotten good at it, right? If appraisal levels up with proficiency like the resistance skills, then shouldn't its level go up if I use it a ton? I just assumed that because I bought it with skill points, I could only level it up with skill points, but maybe this could work? I immediately start appraising everything in sight. A flood of useless information like wall and floor flows into my brain. I feel a little sick. I got dizzy from the information overload. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill Appraisal LV1 has become Appraisal LV2. It was worth feeling sick. Woohoo! It only went up by one level, but it feels like I've taken a huge step forward. Feeling a little excited, I try appraising myself. Small Lesser Pterodactyl. Name none. Ooh, it's showing something that looks like a proper species name. There's still not much information, but it feels like a huge improvement compared to just spider at LV1. However, I'm not just small, but lesser too, huh? It really gives off an inferior species vibe. Yeah, the high I got from appraising just came crashing down a bit. It's not like I had hopes, but I never imagined I'd be an inferior species. Oh well, I was kind of in the same boat in my previous life, so no point worrying about it. More importantly, I need to appraise a ton more and raise its level. It's not going up. After that, I kept appraising the wall over and over, but the level won't budge at all. By the way, the appraisal result for the wall was Labyrinth Wall. What an underwhelming result. Anyway, setting that aside, why isn't it leveling up? The most likely possibility is that once you've appraised something, you don't get any more proficiency for appraising it again. That makes sense. Otherwise, you could easily grind for proficiency. Just in case, I appraised every nook and cranny of my home, but the level didn't go up. It seems I don't have enough proficiency. Does that mean that in order to level up appraisal, I have to go outside my home and appraise things? Come to think of it, back when it was LV1, I did appraise that huge horde of monsters. That might have raised my proficiency by a whole lot. But outside, huh? What a pain. I've got this nice, safe, and comfy home. It feels like a waste to go out of my way to leave it. If I want to live safely, I should just stay shut in. If I want to level up, I have to go outside. Both have their pros and cons, but the danger of the outside is a pretty big con. Yup, I've decided. I think I'll just enjoy this lazy life for a little while longer. No harm in slacking off, right? 10. Level up. As I was lazing around in my home, I felt a vibration in my threads. It seemed my second ever prey had been caught. I was just starting to get a little hungry, so the timing was perfect. I headed toward the prey with a skip in my step. Now that I think about it, a skipping spider is a pretty surreal sight. Last time, I let my guard down and took an unexpected counterattack, so this time I approached with caution. Now, what kind of prey did I catch, I wonder? Elro frog. It was a frog. You again? Why? There were so many other monsters in this dungeon. What are the chances of catching the same monster twice in a row?
Huh? I accidentally let out some fake Kansai dialect. Seriously, what am I going to do with you? Splat! No! While I was doing my stupid one-man comedy routine, I got hit by the frog's saliva attack. A shocking truth revealed for the first time in my second life. I'm an idiot. Right. The pain helped me calm down a bit. My resistance didn't level up this time. I guess I didn't have enough proficiency. Oh well, that's fine. I wrapped the frog in thread so it couldn't resist. Then I gave it a good bite. Chomp. This frog, like the last one, didn't die from a single bite, so it probably has poison resistance. Still, if I immobilize it and bite it, it should at least be weakened. I quickly carried the packaged frog to the back of my home. Then I immediately went back and repaired the broken web. All right, now everything's secure. When I returned to the frog, it was still struggling to escape, even though it was completely wrapped up. It seems one bite didn't do much. Chomp. I bit down again. Last time I had to bite it many times to finally defeat it. But come to think of it, there's no need to bite it over and over. I just need to keep injecting poison from my fangs. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill, Poison Fang LV1, has become Poison Fang LV2. Oh, a skill level up, nice. That's the first time I've heard of that skill. Just as the skill leveled up, the frog, which had been struggling until now, convulsed with a twitch and stopped moving. It was so sudden it made me jump. But from the looks of it, my Poison Fang skill leveling up probably made the poison stronger. Sweet. Experience has reached the required level. The individual, Small Lesser Terratect, has leveled up from LV1 to LV2. Huh? What? My body feels strange. Whoa! What is this? My skin is peeling off? Is this molting? All basic abilities have increased. Acquired skill proficiency level up bonus. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill, Poison Resistance LV2, has become Poison Resistance LV3. Proficiency has reached the required level. Skill, Spider Thread LV3, has become Spider Thread LV4. Acquired skill points. What? What? Hold on a second. I feel like something incredibly important was just glossed over. Say that again. One more, please. Silence. Ugh, you're serious. No. Calm down and remember. Didn't it say level up? That's what it said, right? I couldn't hear it clearly because of the sudden molting. Well, it's obviously weird for molting to just start out of the blue, right? Does this mean my body was renewed because of the level up? For now, I'll peel off the old skin that's still attached to me. Whoa, my back is pretty messed up. This is where the frog's saliva hit me. I couldn't see it, but it was a pretty bad injury. Huh? Come to think of it, the part of my vision that was crushed is back to normal. Ooh, leveling up completely restores your health. How thoughtful. Yeah, this is definitely a level up. I feel like my body is lighter and I feel refreshed and great. The cause was gaining experience from defeating the frog, right? For now, I'll think about it while I eat the frog. Okay, let's try to remember in order.
first, I think it said something about my level going up. Right after that, the molting started, and while I was confused, the voice of God Temp rattled off a bunch of stuff. Remember, skills? Right. Didn't it say a skill leveled up? And it wasn't just one, was it? Did 2 level up at the same time? Why? Right. It said something before the skills. Skill proficiency level up bonus? That's it. Yes, that's what it said. So, by leveling up, bonus points were added to my skill proficiency. That's why 2 skills leveled up at once. The skills that leveled up were poison resistance and spider thread. So thread is a skill too. I missed what level it went up to. But I bet I can level up spider thread pretty easily just by continuously producing it. That's good to know. To summarize, when I level up, my health is fully restored. I feel like my stats went up too. And most importantly, I get a bonus to my skill proficiency. I don't know how many points I get, but enough to level up 2 skills at once must be a pretty decent amount. This means that by leveling up, I might be able to strengthen my skills efficiently. But still, levels. With things like skills, I thought they might exist, and they really do. I tried not to think about it, but this world is really like a game. Now that it's come to this, I was afraid I'd start living like it's a game, but it might be too late. Because I'm actually getting a little excited. I can't fight my gamer spirit. 11. Winding the thread. Lullaby. A thin white thread is stretched between my 2 front legs. When I pull it outward, it stretches. When I release the tension, it gradually returns to its original length. Yep, it turned out rubbery, just as I'd hoped. What am I doing, you ask? Well, now that I know spider thread is also a skill, I'm running some experiments while I grind for proficiency. Until now, I've only used my thread to build my web and restrain the prey that gets caught in it. So, even though it's my own ability, I didn't really understand it all that well. Leave my home to level up? No way, no way. I was all hyped up right after leveling up, but now that I've calmed down, it seems impossible, don't you think? I mean, think about it. Do you really think a girl whose only skill was playing video games can win in a real fight? Impossible! My body might be a monster's, but that's meaningless if the person controlling it is a total scrub.
There's a world of difference between playing a game and actually moving your body. A game character doesn't get tired, but in reality, the more you move, the more exhausted you become. On top of that, in my past life, I was such a weakling that I'd get out of breath just commuting to school. I think it'd be pretty difficult to fight and win against real monsters who live by their wild instincts. It might not be impossible, but I'd like to avoid a choice that's so risky it means my death if I fail. In that case, my chances of winning are far higher if I just set up my web and wait for some poor prey to fall into my trap. It's safer this way, and I think it's much more efficient than wandering aimlessly through the dungeon. I'm sure the time will come when I have to leave my home, but I'd rather do it after I've leveled up a bit more and secured a larger safety margin. In online games, I used to play ridiculously impractical romance build characters, but in other RPGs, my style is to grind levels like crazy in the early game. I get a thrill out of leveling up so much that I can beat bosses while humming a tune. And this time, my own life is on the line, so I'm going to act cautiously until I'm confident I can win against other monsters. And so, as part of that leveling process, I'm currently raising my spider thread proficiency. Come to think of it, this thread is my lifeline. It's terrifying to imagine what would have happened if I couldn't build my home and was still wandering through the dungeon. In that case, I probably wouldn't have survived. I wouldn't have been able to rest safely, nor would I have been able to catch prey. The only reason I can live this comfortably now is all thanks to my spider thread. When I think about it that way, leveling up spider thread is a top priority. I don't know specifically what will change as the level increases, but there's no harm in raising it. So I figured if I'm going to be spewing out thread just to raise proficiency anyway, I might as well use the opportunity to learn more about its properties by testing a few things.
Starting with just producing a ton of it, I tested adjusting its thickness, stickiness, strength, and elasticity. Adjusting the thickness was surprisingly easy. When I tried to make it thinner, I could make it very thin. I couldn't make it so thin it was invisible, but I could get it down to about the thickness of a human hair. In this dark dungeon, even at this thickness, it should be quite hard to see. However, as I found out in the strength test later, the thinner I make it, the easier it breaks. Oh well, that can't be helped. It's common sense that something thinner would be more fragile. Maybe its strength will increase as the level goes up, so I'll just have to hope so that. Conversely, making it thicker increases its strength. The thickest thread I can produce right now is about 2 centimeters in diameter, about the size of a normal rope, maybe. Of course, that's just the maximum I can produce in its raw state. If I really want to make it thicker, I can just bundle multiple strands together. It takes more effort, though. As for the stickiness experiment, I honestly regret doing it. People tend to think all spider webs are sticky, but there are actually non-sticky threads as well. The reason spiders don't get stuck in their own webs is that they skillfully use those non-sticky threads. I understood that instinctively when I built my web, so I was experimenting to understand it better, but I ended up getting magnificently tangled up in my own thread. Yep, the reason I have to use both sticky and non-sticky threads is because it's necessary, and if I don't, I'll get caught in my own trap. Like an idiot, I was ensnared by the very thread I produced. I panicked. Seriously, if I hadn't realized that I can lower the stickiness even after producing the thread, I would have met a ridiculously stupid end, dying in my own trap. I learned through sheer force of circumstance that as long as the thread is still connected to my spinneret, I can alter its properties to some extent. Afterward, I tried changing the properties of a thread after detaching it and found that I could change it, but only slightly. Pulling myself together, I checked its strength. I already confirmed that it gets more fragile when thin and sturdier when thick, but as for how much force it can withstand, unfortunately, I couldn't find out. Why? Because when I set its strength to max, I couldn't break it no matter how much force I used. Terrifyingly, I couldn't even cut it with my fangs. Yeah, if something gets caught in this thread, there's no easy escape. Still, a monster with more strength than me might be able to tear it, so I can't get overconfident. And so, the result of my final experiment, elasticity, is the thread that's currently boinging in my hands. Yup, this rubbery thread seems like it could be quite useful. If I tie a suitable rock to it, I could use it as a simple sling. It seems like it could be handy for various other things, too. I'm very satisfied with my experiment results. However, even after all that, my level didn't go up. And a problem arose that's rather hard to ignore. The more thread I produce, the more energy I consume. In other words, even though it hasn't been that long since I ate the frog, I was now ravenously hungry. It's not that my fuel efficiency is bad, but it seems dangerous to use a large amount of thread without having a full stomach first.